Good morning, multiverse. Hey there, friends and foes. Welcome to Back of the Cereal Box, the pop culture podcast that celebrates the fun of the Saturdays of our youth while surviving adulthood today. And this morning, we've got a very special guest in the studio to help us talk about, what are we talking about? The Land of the Lost, baby. That's right. We're going to be talking about the Krofft classic, The Land of the Lost. And we're going to do that. Can you control this studio? Yeah, I can do it. We're going to do that right after this.
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi Strauss, Johnny Carson and Mickey Mouse. The first star was James Dean. Elvis Presley, yeah, he's still the king. Some things are only imitatable. You can't beat an original. Oh, you can't beat an original.
All right, we are back. This is Back of the Cereal Box, and that amazing theme song is brought to us by our good friends, the Murdering Crows. You can get their album, Four Bad Crows, at Amazon, iTunes, Google Music, or anywhere you buy music. And of course, we want to thank our Cereal Box super friends, Eli Cash, Cindy Kep, Sharice Collins, Dave Manginelli, Dave Mattingly, Greg and Crystal Jones, and you too can have your name in lights at buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod. If you love our show, contribute to help us move higher, further, faster. And if you hate our show, contribute even more generously to help us improve just for you. And to help you and to remind you, that banner is going to be running along the bottom during the show. We are also brought to you by the Tales of the Decoverse series. This is my book series, available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and local booksellers. Speaking of local booksellers, go in and ask for Every Beaten Path by Sarah Jenkins, our esteemed co-host. You can get that. And of course, finally, this show is brought to you today by the best day in gym ever. Bop, bop, ba-dop, bop, bop. Now, waiting in the green room is my co-host, my broadcast partner of 11 years, and she's got a confused look on her face like she doesn't know what the best day in gym ever is. DeBarty,
You're right.
model, actress, photographer. She is a fan of The Wizard of Oz, Ghostbusters, dinosaurs, and friends. And Dee, just for you, we have a very special co-host. Hi, Dee.
Hey.
I love you, baby.
I don't know you, but I love you too, Mr. Dinosaur.
Give me a kiss. I want to pop you like a chicken bone. Anyway, you don't know what this is? Best day in gym ever?
No.
What? Oh my gosh. And our other co-host, Sarah Jenkins, is back with us this week. She is author extraordinaire, podcaster, host of Words and Coffee, and she is the author of Every Beaten Path. Wait, did I get that right? Is it
No,
Coffee and
Coffee and Words.
Coffee comes first, John.
That's right.
I should know that. Well, listen, we have missed you over the last 4 weeks. It is so glad to have you back. And you're freaking out in the green room that Dee does not know what the best day in gym ever is.
I lived for that day. Like
I did
everybody
too.
lived for that day. It was, I mean, you know, all the things you could do with it. And then like that picture shows and you're underneath, and you're like, yeah, this is great. And you forget about school for like 5 minutes. You
I know.
forget that you're even at school.
You
Is
were
that
like
that rainbow thing that you like throw in the air?
It's
like
a parachute, right? That's the
it's
parachute.
a parachute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they eliminated that by the time I got into school.
What?
Yeah.
What? Willow, Willow Schuyler is with us, our emotional support Canadian, the Peppermint Princess, the social media socialite. She's a fan of all things superheroes, comic books, and X-Men in particular. And Willow, in Canada, did you have Parachute Day in gym?
Yes, we did. It was even better when they brought out the rolling things that.
The just the pieces of wood with the wheels, right? And you scoot around, or did you guys
I remember.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you sit on them and you just, I don't even know. Did you play? Was there even a game? I think you were like trying to.
There
get
were
into a square
games that you play, and then they brought out the parachute, and it would be like duck, duck, goose, like trying to shoot from one side of the parachute to the other.
And try not to get caught underneath it. But everyone wanted to be caught underneath it, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sad. Can we do this? I want. Can you guys play with
Yes.
me?
Do this. Can we have
Yes.
a parachute
Johnny?
day just for D?
Yeah.
Johnny, when I come down there to host the show with you guys, can we rent a bouncy castle and show Dee the fun of being inside a bouncy castle?
Dee knows all about the bouncy castle. She's got
I know the bouncy castles.
Because that's what it was like for me, was the big parachute and bouncy castles.
I mean, yes.
I want to have a parachute day. I want the best day in gym ever.
Yes.
We're gonna do that for you, D.
Adult friends, we could. Yeah, it'd be fun.
That would
would.
be
Host our
awesome.
show underneath a giant.
Broadcasting live from the parachute. It's back of the cereal box.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so excited. This is
John,
going
can
to
you make
happen.
this happen, please?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I didn't get to experience this, and it looks like a lot of fun. I always
Yes.
wanted to. I saw it on TV and stuff, but I've never.
Oh
I've
my
never
God.
done
It was so much fun. That surprises me that you never got to experience that. I mean, it makes me a little bit sad in a lot of
I'm
ways.
heartbroken.
I don't know
I
why.
do.
Like, I remember actually seeing like the actual parachute in school, but they're like, "Oh, sorry, we can't do that anymore." By the time I made it to,
So somebody must have gotten hurt or did
Probably.
something stupid,
probably, I'm sure.
Yeah.
you know?
But I never knew what it was for, and I never knew like.
And
that's-
they allowed us to have the giant moon balls to play dodgeball with.
Those big are you talking about the big inflatable balls that you get inside? and
No.
you
No,
roll-
she's talking about
No,
the
no.
dodgeball balls.
Okay.
They were like these massive. Yeah, well, they called them moon balls up here, and we would actually play dodgeball with them. I got whacked in the face a couple times with them.
Hey, you
So
know
fun.
what? They still have dodgeball in middle school. And a few years ago, my daughter broke her finger playing dodgeball.
I
Ooh.
remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah, because I was like, dodgeball? What? Dodgeball?
Well, it was Maddie. You guys know Maddie.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, it was Maddie.
All of your kids are a little bit accident prone.
They get it naturally.
A little.
I
So-
bent my finger playing basketball. It doesn't go up.
Well,
I have
now,
one of those.
Willow, you are a little bit accident prone too.
A little.
Yeah.
That's saying it mildly.
That's why I love you.
I am
Willow.
too, so I get it. Yeah.
So, Sarah, you have been gone from our midst for a couple of weeks, about 4 weeks now. It can't believe it's been that long. What have you been up to?
So I was just saying before the show started, I have emerged from the ashes and flames of deadline hell, and I'm here. I've returned from the depths. I have just completed my current manuscript, and it will be going off to my editor this coming week. So
Whoop, whoop.
Now, do you have a title for the story, for the book?
yeah,
Are you allowed to share that?
Well, I actually just changed the title. I do have, I would call it a working title. So, authors don't really have a lot of control over the title. I think I froze. That really gets put in the hands of the publisher. So it could probably change. So I won't say titles right now, but since it's really not even within my grasp or control, but I have several optional titles. So maybe my opinion can get thrown in there.
All right. Well, keep us posted because that's super, super exciting.
Yeah, it's the worst deadline I've ever been on, and I will never let it get that bad again. So
That's awesome. I love it. Listen, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I've got a new book coming out this summer, volume 3 of the Tales of the Decoverse. So super excited about that. For those of you who are in the audience and you're wondering what this show is Back of the Cereal Box, and it is a pop culture podcast that celebrates the fun of the Saturdays of our youth while surviving adulthood today. And I am of a generation that Saturday mornings meant big bowls of cereal, sitting down with, in front of the TV to watch cartoons and kung fu movies and Godzilla movies. And for me, reading comic books. And because we didn't have iPhones or tablets at the breakfast table on Saturday morning or any morning, we were reading the back of the cereal box. And that was our world. That was our newspaper. That was our portal to all things pop culture, comics, games, toys, movies, trading cards. D, I saw a box of Frosted Flakes this week that had Topps trading cards inside. So
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I actually, unfortunately, know what Topps trading cards are.
yes, I know. So her husband collects them like they're going out of style.
Like a child. We were coming back from our vacation, and he's like, I must stop in Atlanta for trading cards. And I'm like,
that's fantastic. I love that. So every Saturday morning started with a big bowl of cereal. So I have to ask this morning, what's in the bowl? And in my brand new Fruity Pebbles bowl that was sent to us courtesy of the influencer, this came from Candy Pop and Cookie Pop. And they sent us, if you didn't see last week's episode, they sent us more cereal pop. Fruity Pebbles, Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles popcorn, which we did a live taste test last week. It was fantastic. But this morning, in honor of The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, I am eating the dark side, light side Frosted Flakes. And Willow, Frosted Flakes has become one of my favorite cereals of all time. What is in your bowl, Willow?
All right, so I decided to. I've been staring at this box
Oh,
for a while.
What?
At the grocery store.
Man.
Caramel Toast Crunch. Where'd she go?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Willow completely disappeared.
Yes, she did.
That is an unbelievable trick. How did you do that?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know.
Just. But yeah, it's actually really good. I mean, caramel is usually pretty sweet, but it's actually good. And there's like cinnamon on there as well, mixed in. Although the color is kind of to be desired for.
Well,
but
I mean, caramel is brown, you know?
Well, I have to ask you guys, you say caramel?
Mm-hmm.
Is it caramel?
Caramel.
I say caramel.
Caramel.
Caramel. Yeah.
What about you? Same for you, Sarah? Caramel?
Caramel. But it's not caramel. It's like a UL. Caramel.
She mixes both of them together.
Caramel. I've always said
Caramel. Caramel and caramel.
I've never understood how you get caramel out of caramel. Because it's clearly spelled caramel.
Yeah, well, why do you say salmon when it's spelled salmon? So, I mean, salmon.
English is hard.
Salmon. It's salmon.
Isn't that always cute when you're like at a restaurant and there's these little old ladies sitting at the next table and they're like, "Ooh, I think I'm gonna get the salmon," and I'm like, "You don't go out very much, do you?"
I have to do that with my husband. He does that salmon. I'm like, "No, babe, it's salmon."
No, I grew up like that. I said salmon until I was much, much, much older and was like, oh, I guess I should fit in and say salmon.
Speaking of English, across the pond sports network. Good morning from the home of the English language.
Yeah, but you make it sound so much better than we do.
all the way from Scotland. What did you guys know that? And Sarah, I know you know this. That English is actually a Germanic language. It is derived from German. You're staring at me like I got a third eye.
Interesting.
You know, our modern day English is a culmination of many different languages. And in fact, a lot of our English language is French. And of course, there's the Latin derivatives. So I don't know. I'm not a linguistic.
English is just stolen words.
Yes, stolen words.
From every other language to make it sound like it's their own language.
That's funny. Now, Sarah, do you have something in your bowl this morning?
Okay, sadly, I do not. But I do have a very large mug the size of my head.
College survival mug. Are you in college again?
I'm not. But if we could cross that out and put like deadline survival mug.
Yes.
Adulting survival mug.
Ooh. Someone make a note of that. Adulting survival mug.
That's funny. She has that. I have a Duracell mug.
Wait, why do you have a Duracell mug?
Because,
where did that come from?
Well, they're a sponsor of.
So she can keep
my
going
job.
And go. Yeah, wait, that's Energizer. Wait, I don't even know what Duracell.
I need my go-go juice.
Oh my gosh!
I need to recharge.
Duracell.
My cup changes colors.
Now, Willow, is that a Starbucks cup?
It is, and I'm gonna have to find someone who can sponsor my drinking habit.
Well, here's my question for you. I know that you are a former Starbucks barista, and you left unceremoniously, and so is it hard for you to go back into a Starbucks and order coffee?
Honestly, okay, I've been into a Starbucks once since they kicked me out. No, it's not really that difficult. It's just like their coffee, it left a bitter taste in my mouth. And so I've been finding my love of local coffee places to go to.
I love that.
So.
Now, Dee, are you still in love with Starbucks?
I am. Don't tell Willow.
It's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. So
it's funny though. Like I don't really like if I see a Starbucks, I'm not like, oh, I got to go to Starbucks because I don't like the way that their coffee tastes in the store. In particular, I like it, so I buy it and make it at home. It tastes different.
Yeah.
That's what's in my cup right now. But I wouldn't go to a Starbucks and spend $7 on a cup of coffee.
Oh yeah.
Well, because they don't burn it at home. I've heard that the coffee beans are burnt at Starbucks. Is that true, Willow?
I would assume that it is cooked in their hoppers a little bit longer. And although the lighter the roast, the more caffeine it has. So if you guys want to have a lighter roast, try their blonde roast.
That's fantastic.
I have a local coffee shop here that they're my friends anyway, so I always get everything from there. They're great.
That's awesome. So we have some audience comments, and so let's see what we got here. This is how this works. Everyone in the audience, you can contribute in the chat and be the fifth co-host. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. And Molly, Facebook user, says, good morning. And Molly Daniels says, good morning. I remembered to set my alarm this time.
Oh, yay.
And
Thank
this
you.
this is funny since this has got to be Dave Mattingly. No, probably not. But whoever Facebook user is says John, Willow, Dee, and Sarah on a routine expedition. Met the greatest author ever known. Oh, I see how this is going. Willow, Dee, and Johnny met the greatest author ever known in Sarah. Okay. That's
Wow. Wow. I
That's
just
what-
went up a notch, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. And what? Okay. James Scott with the Across the Pond Sports Network says Americans can't pronounce Pittsburgh correctly. So in Scotland, Edinburgh is pronounced Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Yeah, so he wants to pronounce Pittsburgh as Pittsburgh. Is that right?
Do it, Sarah. Don't take a drink when Josh trying to pronounce things.
I was supposed to say Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound right.
Edinburgh.
No,
That's
please,
what.
Please, no. That kills me every time someone's like, "Are we going to Edinburgh?" No,
You said Sarah nailed it. Look at that.
Edinburgh.
And James says, my supply of Fruit Loops and root beer has run out.
We have to ship you some, James.
So sorry.
Ooh.
So you guys know that James shared with us that in Scotland, in the UK, they don't have Fruit Loops on store shelves because they can't be considered food. They're considered candy. And for whatever reason, they can't even be in the candy aisle. Well, there's a similar thing going on here in the U.S. that legislatures in Congress are trying to eliminate sugary cereals from the cereal aisle because they claim that it is contributing to childhood obesity. And I am going to say it is not contributing to childhood obesity. Inactivity is contributing to childhood obesity. When I was a kid,
I'll give you that for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sorry to cut you off, John. I have a big thing with that. I'm like, go outside and play. Go outside. And play. Go outside and play. Go outside and play.
That's how I
Or
was
do
when I was a
sports.
kid.
All my kids do sports. My 6-year-old does sports. He has baseball practice today.
Yeah. Yeah. My son, my kids, to get them to go outside for anything was like a miracle. That's why we had to have organized sports. Because when I was a kid, Sarah, when you were a kid, your mom would kick you out of the house and you would stay out until the street lights came on, right? Yeah. And we were running around, riding bikes, going down to the pool, or in my case, had a pool in the backyard and everyone came over to my house. But, we were out. And during the summer, we weren't sitting in front of a TV playing video games. There was a little bit of that because when I was a kid, the Atari 2600 came out. But and Dee's like, what? The Atari 2600. But we weren't sitting in front of
Super Nintendo.
Yes. Okay. Well, that wasn't much later. But we weren't sitting in front of the TV all day. I mean, it was a big part of our childhood in the mornings. But around noontime, your mom would say, all right, that's enough. Turn off the TV. Get out. And we all know that the reason she kicked us out was because she wanted to watch her stories. Willow, do you know what I mean when I say stories?
Yep.
I think that was an older generation that said that. But yeah, like the grandparents. I remember my grandparents saying that.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of, Young and the Restless is celebrating 50 years.
What? Isn't that the only one left?
Hospital's still on.
Days of Our Lives.
I think
Days of Our Lives is
isn't it?
going on, but they haven't changed their stories in like 40 years.
It's funny. It's a lot of the same actors that were on there in like the 70s and 80s are still on there. It's like,
You know, one of the guys from General Hospital lives down the road from me. Jason, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I've met him several times. He's a really nice guy.
Wait, okay. All right.
I don't know who that is.
We're going to talk after the show, Dee.
Okay.
So, James Scott said, Sarah nailed it. How did you pronounce Pittsburgh?
Wait, wow.
Peter?
Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh, but I guess you wanted me to say Pittsburgh, but I was saying Edinburgh, which I will be in Scotland in September again after a long hiatus. So I'm excited to be back in Edinburgh. And
Wait
other
a minute.
places.
Dawn Dula says Prague and New Prague are pronounced differently, completely differently. Wait, how is New? Is it New Prague?
Prague?
I was going to say in the South it'd be Prague. What's
Prague.
that? That Pragu. It's Pragu. That new Pragu pasta sauce. It's like Prego and Ragu put together. We're going to get some Pragu.
Maybe they could be a sponsor of the show.
I like how she switches to country all of a sudden. We gonna get some Prego. We'll have some supper tonight.
You know, girl.
I love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to skip ahead. We're going to skip our new loot segment just because Dee has to run early today because apparently Dee cannot say no to anything.
Stop saying that. That's not true. That makes me sound really bad. And people take that the wrong way. That's not true. I can't say no when they make me president of things.
When they make you president.
I enjoy the power.
Did you run for president? Did
No,
you
I was
say I
nominated.
want to be president? No. They said, "Hey Dee, you're going to be president." And Dee's like, okay. When she should have said, "No, I'm not."
That's exactly what happened.
Yes. Oh, we need
It's
to have
okay,
it.
Dee. It wasn't until I turned 35 when I started to realize, saying no and having a backbone actually was a thing.
Hey, you hear something funny? Before you move on, I gotta tell you this. So I told my husband the other day, I was like, guess what? You get to be the first husband. And he was like, the first husband? I'm your first husband? And I'm like, yeah, if I'm Madam President, you're the first husband. And he was like, oh.
He's a little bit slower than most, but he got it. That's the important thing.
Now we need to see him in like the Jackie O outfit.
Ooh. Yes.
Can you
With a
please
matching
make that
handbag.
happen, Dee Martini?
I probably could. Yeah, he would probably do it.
That would be awesome. Well, it is time for Saturday Morning 101. And this is a series that has really caught on, ladies and gentlemen, because people are loving our recap of the Saturday Morning Essentials.
Hello, child.
It's a kid.
Which one is that?
It's the older one.
Speaking of Landofthelost, it's the kid of the lost.
Yeah, he was like, where am I going?
That's the time warp portal right there. And we have things coming in and out. You don't know what's going to happen during the
Oh
show.
my gosh, that's funny. Now, before we get into Land of the Lost, we do need to acknowledge Michael Reeves, who passed away this week. Normally, I don't like to dwell on celebrity deaths, but Michael Reeves was a writer for just about every cartoon series ever on TV. He was such a big part of what we talk about on this show. Saturday mornings were his domain, and he passed away this week. So this week's show is in honor of Michael Reeves. And it is time. T-Buddy. We got a special guest to talk about Land of the Lost. Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition met the greatest earthquake ever known. I absolutely was obsessed with the Sid and Marty Krofft TV show, Land of the Lost. Now, over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the Sid and Marty Krofft shows. And up until now, They've been really wacky. They've been really weird, kind of psychedelic, and obviously drug inspired. But
That's what I've heard. Is that actually a thing? I've actually heard that from several people.
So
They claim that they weren't doing drugs during the making of any of their shows.
well, so new information from Comic-Con last year. Wesley Urey, who played Will, the older brother, he and Holly gave a panel at Comic-Con, and Will did admit that both the brothers Krofft admitted privately to him, yeah, we did inhale. So, new information.
I mean, you make that many costumes, someone's gonna be high on glue.
Yeah. Well, but we get through that, and in 1974, Saturday mornings we get Land of the Lost, and this was a complete departure from the silliness, the psychedelics. This was a family drama, a high stakes adventure about this family. Father Marshall, Will and Holly, his two kids. They're explorers. They're into the outdoors. They're outdoors people. They're, rafting, doing a river expedition. And all of a sudden there's this earthquake. The earth splits open and they fall 1,000 feet down this endless waterfall into the Land of the Lost.
Why is all of their shows, they're always falling? Like something, so you're falling in a hat, you're falling down a waterfall,
because
falling.
it comes from Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland established the trope of falling into a different world. But unlike the other Krofft shows, this show had high stakes. It was serious. The Marshall, Will, and Holly, they had to take up refuge in a cave, learn how to live in a prehistoric land. And these are the Sleestaks, these alien lizard creatures that are constantly trying to capture them. And when I was a kid, I was obsessed with the Sleestaks. They would make this sound. And I built my own Sleestak costume for Halloween out of green felt. And I forget what I built the mask out of, but it was the first costume I ever built. And little known trivia fact, there were only ever 3 Sleestak costumes made. So there were only 3 that ever appeared at one time, but it was an entire colony. And there was one Sleestak, though, Enoch, who was good and benevolent, and he didn't want to eat the family. He wanted to help them survive and maybe even leave the Land of the Lost. And along the way, in the very first episode that we watched, we met Chaka and the Pakinis, the ape-like creatures that live in the Land of the Lost. And this is Chaka. And I don't know about anybody else, but I was again struck by how great the costume was on him. It was really well done. Made from human hair by a master wig maker. And this was the replacement for Marshall. In the 3rd season, Marshall vanished through one of the pylons and was replaced by his brother Jack. And there's a whole reason that happened. But this show relied on stop motion animation and some puppetry. But for the day, and I'm gonna see if I can bring this up. For the day, the stop motion animation was really groundbreaking. it was, let me see. Here we go. Share screen. So this will not have sound, but we're going to see a little bit of this stop motion animation right here. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is all, stop motion animation with models. And I got to tell you, even today, I feel like that holds up really well, even by today's standards. And of course, that's a hand puppet, but they got away from the silly puppets and the costumes, and everything was high stakes. And, all of the dinosaurs that you see appearing are all stop motion. I mean, that's Ray Harryhausen quality. Do you guys know who Ray Harryhausen is? D?
Sounds familiar.
No.
Sarah, do you?
No.
Ray Harryhausen was the Hollywood special effects guru who perfected stop motion animation.
It's really
And-
cool though. I mean, even like you said, even like today's standard. I mean, the puppetry, obviously not today's standards, but the like I can watch this.
Well, I knew you could. And, I watched this episode again this week, and I was literally on the edge of my seat because, as a kid, this T-Rex scared the crap out of me.
I can imagine.
And even watching it again, Marshall, Will, and Holly, Chaka, and the other Pekini having to escape from this T-Rex that they called Grumpy.
Grumpy.
Every day, it was a matter of survival for them. And unlike the 1990s series that Sarah remembers, this family didn't get to change clothes every day. So there was another series in 1991 that was also the Land of the Lost. And it came out in 1991, and it followed the same idea, the same pattern, but the characters were different names. It wasn't Marshall, Will, and Holly. Do you remember, Sarah, what their names were?
I do not, but Timothy Bottoms starred in that one, and he was fantastic.
Now,
why do I not remember this?
Because it only ran one season.
Okay.
But
It
then
ran-
it just kept going, though. I think it was in reruns for at least 2 or 3 years. Because
Yeah.
I watched it a lot.
Isn't there a
They-
cartoon series, Land of the Lost or something?
No, there's not a cartoon
No, but
series.
they did make a movie
Will
later
Ferrell.
on.
Well, we're gonna get to that in a minute. There was a cartoon series, a dinosaur cartoon series called that's gonna drive me crazy. Because I used to watch it all the time too.
I thought it was Land of the Lost.
No,
I guess not.
no.
I'm gonna find out.
So here's
at
the
that.
difference. This is the T-Rex, and does this look familiar? Because I'm pretty sure that the hand puppet that I have is that T-Rex.
Yay.
I'm pretty sure this is a Land of the Lost merchandise puppet. But here's what bothered me about this show, Sarah. 26 episodes.
Land
And-
Before Time. That's
Land
what I'm
Before.
looking for.
Well, that was the cartoon movies. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Well, there was also a television series that was set in a dinosaur world, like Journey to the Center of the. It wasn't Center of the Earth. I forget what it was called, but it'll.
Oh,
come to
Molly
me.
got it. Land Before Time. Good job, Molly.
Now, unlike the original Land of the Lost, where they were on a raft and they went down 1,000 feet below, this family were just driving their car,
Yeah.
and there's an earthquake, and their car falls down into the middle of the earth. And hey, how convenient! We're living with dinosaurs, but we got a car that we can drive around.
Yes.
And apparently, this was like a Gilligan's Island kind of situation, because every episode they had new outfits on, and they found an egg. They hatched the egg, and here we get
Yes.
baby from Dinosaurs with Chaka. They
I
called
love
her
it.
Tasha. And instead of the
Yes,
sleeve
Tasha.
stacks. Yeah, I watched it,
I'm
Sarah.
reliving my childhood right now. This is great. Oh, I remember him.
Okay, wait a minute. This guy looks familiar.
I remember
This
him.
is the villain, Shrung. So instead of the sleeve stacks, instead of these guys, they had Shrung, who was a really kind of vicious, evil warlord. But here's the thing, Sarah. I watched this for you,
Thank you.
but it never felt like the original. It never felt like they were ever in any real danger. The music track underneath the 1990s series was like a Hallmark movie, like with synthesizers and harps. And every episode had this cold open where, like, the first episode I watched, they're asleep at the beginning of the episode and they're awakened by noise. And I'm like, how exciting is that for a kid to watch people wake up? I'm
He's being
demonstrating.
facetious.
Anyway, and Sarah, as much as I love you, on the 1990s Landofthelost series, the family did not live in a cave. They lived in a treehouse.
Yeah, I loved the treehouse. I was like, I wanted to live in that treehouse when I was a kid.
But here's the problem. When you live in a land where there are T-Rexes whose heads are the same height as a treehouse, that's not called living. That's called being
Lunch.
bait. They built a treehouse to be bait for the T-Rexes. Anyway.
But you know, John, this is what I had growing up. I didn't have the one that you grew up with. This was all I had. This is all I knew as a kid. It was like, wow, look at this. This is cool. You know. that's all
I
had.
will say it looked cool. It had great graphics. Jungle Girl that we see here on the cover was
Oh, yes.
phenomenal.
Mhm.
I liked
forgot
her a
about
Now
lot.
we know why John watched it.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it was.
Either I didn't get it up in Canada or I repressed it like a lot of my childhood trauma.
I'm going to tell you. So from a technical standpoint, and a story standpoint, an acting standpoint, all the way around, I really truly believe the 1974 series is the superior series. And not just because I'm so sentimental about it. Like the language that Chaka is speaking right now in the Pekini, they hired a linguist to create an actual language. And the actors had to learn the language. And lo and behold, as in every fandom, there is now a fan who has created an English Pekini dictionary.
Wow.
Yeah. And apparently the language is a hybrid of Russian and Mandarin Chinese.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, will
But,
you put that last comment up that Molly said?
Let's see. What did Molly say?
When did Jurassic Park come out? They should have known better
Jurassic
about the
Park came
treehouse.
out around 93.
93.
Oh, 93?
93.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. You don't get in a treehouse where a T-Rex can just, look in the window and bite the whole thing off the tree. I mean, come on, people.
Well, and John, I think a lot of times the original is naturally just going to be better. You know, you
I
have a lot
agree.
of remakes are usually more, and not to discount any remakes, but sometimes it's more cashing in on something that did really well before. So let's remake it. Let's just do it again, reboot
And they're
it.
trying very hard to recreate the magic, and something always fails with that.
I don't
Right.
like the reboots 90% of the time. I like it when they continue. Like if it's a continuation, I'm usually good with that. But the reboots, man, they just drive me nuts. That's why I love the Jurassic World movies, because they didn't reboot it. They just continued it.
Well, here's my thing. Instead of remaking great movies, I think they should remake really bad movies that had a good premise, or good story, or good source material. Those movies are the movies that deserve to be remade because they got a bad movie to begin with.
I mean,
So
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So yeah, but the problem with that is a lot of the movies that I like, people consider bad, and then the movies that I hate, other people consider good. So I don't know that.
For example,
I don't like Blade Runner.
You know what? I'm not a fan of
That's
Blade
the look
Runner
I usually
either.
get.
But you know what? Visually, it is a masterpiece.
I'm not sure if I've ever seen this.
But I'm not a fan of Blade Runner,
Yeah,
the original one.
It's okay. I mean, yeah.
I mean, it is an important film to study from an aesthetic standpoint and from a sound design standpoint. But the story is just
Boring.
It's a little bit boring. Yeah. D, it's a boring science fiction movie. You should watch it.
Go watch it right now.
Yeah. Sounds like something I won't be doing.
Actually, the sequel, Blade Runner 2049, was actually much better.
I don't know if I've ever seen Blade Runner. I really don't. I'm drawing a blank.
Actually, it would surprise me if you had.
I gotta look it up.
I didn't watch it until just a few years ago. So.
And do you agree with Willow and I that it's just? I mean, you understand why it's an important movie, but it's really not.
Yeah, it's important. I think there's several reasons why it's important.
Nope, never seen it.
But I didn't watch it and go, wow, I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Okay, now seen it. Now I'm done.
Well, and so we have some comments about classics and remakes. Like Carl Witzman, he chimes in and says humans in costumes were worse than any of the stop motion. Pulls you right out of the story. See, I don't agree with that, because the thing with the Bikini they were like early humans. So, here we got them back on screen here. So, they were. Oh, wow. Oh,
I mean,
man.
Star Trek Next Generation didn't get good until like the second season, to be honest. So,
well, I was going to say, this actually, some of what you showed us, John, is reminding me of The Cage, which was the original pilot for Star Trek before William Shatner came on as the lead actor. And it reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah. I can see that. I just remember, I was glued to the TV to watch Landofthelost because I was one of those kids obsessed with dinosaurs. And I was obsessed with adventure. I was remembering the Banana Splits, which we haven't covered yet. They would show episodes, shorts of a live action cartoon called Danger Island. And Danger Island was this high adventure kind of Indiana Jones style, before Indiana Jones, high adventure. And also created by the Krofftbrothers. And, this just for me felt real. And that stop motion animation is just so beautiful. And Carl Witzman says, everyone, let's see, we got a little delay here. Everyone should learn about Ray Harryhausen in school. They must not be teaching the right things. Well, I don't think schools really care about stop motion animation, Carl. Call me silly, but I think they're more concerned on reading, writing, arithmetic.
Arithmetic.
And whether or not they need to be doing it in Pragu.
That's my favorite pasta sauce, John.
Okay, so Carl Witzman says he loves how the family stands close to the cave door to see the dino, like Midwesterners out on the porch watching tornadoes. This is a real thing last night. Dee, did a tornado come through Fairview last night? Sarah, did a tornado come through Dixon
If it
last
did,
night?
I was asleep. I don't know.
No.
But we do that, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's fun.
Oh, I want to go ride with storm chasers. That's like, it's on my bucket list.
Oh my gosh, right?
On my bucket list. Yeah. I'm ready.
I think a lot of you are similar to us here up in Manitoba, where it's like if the tornado comes and it eats our neighbor's barn, then we'll go into the house.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
After you film it, right?
Yes, we have to film it.
All right, so I'm
Facebook
really
Live.
jealous.
For insurance purposes only.
I got the video, y'all.
That's
Hey,
funny.
y'all, watch this.
Hold my beer.
Oh my
wait,
gosh.
I have to say, that reminds me, Dee, did you guys ever see Into the Storm with Richard Armitage? Really cool movie that came out a few years ago.
Is that
there's
the one where they're in the ocean?
No, it's a tornado.
It's a tornado.
It's a tornado film, but there are two characters that are totally the hold my beer guys that go around and get in all kinds of trouble with this tornado. So anyway, it's a great film.
That's funny. Hey, this comment makes me jealous. James Scott says his son Logan is learning about stop motion animation in school, and they went to the Ray Harryhausen exhibit in Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
That's really cool.
I'm jealous that his kids are learning about stop motion in school. I feel like.
How long is this exhibit going for? Maybe I should take my 10-year-old when we go this year.
Yeah.
Maybe I should take him. Yeah.
Maybe you should.
All right. So this next comment, I'm going to take issue with.
Uh-oh.
And Dawn Doulis asks this question. And as much as I love you, Dawn, I'm going to take issue with this. She asks, if the potential was there, why not to improve it? Talking about remakes. That makes perfect sense. Then again, it makes sense. So why do it? Okay, so yeah, why would Hollywood do anything that makes sense? See, I don't think we need to try to improve on something that was perfect the first time. It's like them talking about wanting to do a remake, and I think this has been scrapped, a remake of The Lost Boys. I mean, come on. Wow. The Lost Boys was a perfect movie.
Well, that's like The Wizard of Oz. You know, we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
And they'll never do a remake of that. Well, I can't say never, but
and look,
please don't.
With today's technology, they could make that movie infinitely superior in special effects. Mm-hmm. But you can't recapture the magic of that cast.
Right.
And there's something charming about seeing the mechanical wings on the monkeys that are held up on strings, you know. Mm-hmm. There's something charming about the.
I love that they built the whole. I just love the sets that are actually built and it's not animated. You know, I don't know. It's magical.
That's what we have in Land of the Lost. They're all physical sets.
Well, tell me why Wizard of Oz that was made several years beforehand looks so much better than this.
Well, because it was made with a Hollywood budget and not a TV budget.
Okay, that's
so
right.
You know.
Good point. Okay.
And it's an argument that we're having even today with shows on Disney Plus or HBO Max, streaming shows, Netflix shows. People are comparing the TV shows to Hollywood movies, and you can't compare them because they don't have the same budgets. So the TV shows are always going to be.
It's back.
Does he want to
But
be?
he was in a different
co-host?
outfit this time.
Does he
We
want-
had outfit changes here. I'm really into the outfit changes, John. That's why I like the one version.
Did he go through a pylon? So that's something I didn't have a picture of. On Land of the Lost, they had these pylons, and Wesley Urey, who played Will, called them skylons because they were these golden obelisks or silver obelisks that would magically open up, and you could step into them and be teleported to different places. And apparently they were going to be the key to escaping the Land of the Lost, but there was a caveat. They couldn't leave through the pylons unless somebody else came through to replace them. So I don't believe that Will, Holly, and Jack by season 3 ever left. Marshall did. Marshall went through the pylons, and his brother Jack replaced him. I think they were stuck there for the rest of eternity.
They're still there.
I think
Right
so.
now. They're still
We
there.
should go rescue them.
We should.
Unlike this abomination.
What in the
God.
world? Stop
Take
it.
it away. My eyes. My eyes.
Oh my gosh. It's like
Make it
Sharknado.
stop, please.
Yeah.
This is why we don't remake classic, perfect IPs.
This
Especially
is why
with
we
Will
can't have
Ferrell.
nice things, John.
Because
They-
of Will Ferrell.
They
He takes away all of our nice things.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
they took a serious, high-stakes family drama and turned it into a slapstick, vulgar comedy. And it did
As
not
Will Ferrell
work.
does. Okay, sorry.
Well, I mean, Elf was fun.
I do.
Talladega
It depends
Nights.
on who he's teamed up with.
Yeah. Yeah. I
By
agree with Willow.
himself, he's not very funny.
I thought Get Hard with him and Kevin Hart was pretty funny.
Oh my God.
I haven't seen that one.
That movie,
Don't watch it.
Don't.
You'll be
Sarah.
highly offended. Don't watch it.
Yeah. Listen, I was highly offended by that movie.
I mean, I kind of was too, but I've
Look,
watched it several
I
times.
don't need to see up close shots of male genitalia.
I still feel like I wasted
Wow.
money going to see Step Brothers in theaters.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Talladega Nights is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Tried watching it, wasn't a fan.
Okay, old school. I will never. Not
Again,
like
it
old
depends
school.
on who he's teamed up with. He wasn't the main character in that.
But isn't it hilarious that in every movie that Will Ferrell's in, he has to run streaking in his underwear down the
We're
street
going
or through the
streaking!
desert? Or
I love this. Sorry.
Old School was funny. I liked Old School.
Great.
But listen,
Sorry.
Land of the Lost, not.
No.
If you're looking for Land of the Lost, please start with 1974. If you can't do 1974, the 1991 series that Sarah loves so much is a good second step. But just remember that it is the most 90s TV show ever made because they
Yeah.
wear modern clothing. They have modern convenience. It's like Gilligan's Island with dinosaurs.
Yes. And Timothy Bottoms. I mean, we do have to recognize that he's a really talented actor. I mean,
I
maybe
couldn't-
that was not his best performance, but he's really talented.
You know, I had a hard time finding any clear screenshots for the 1991 series. I don't know why. It was very
Interesting.
difficult to find anything, but
They're scrubbing it from the internet.
it could be. It could be. Now, Molly Daniels brought up another Will Ferrell movie, Blades of Glory. That's actually hilarious. With John Hader,
Yeah,
I've seen it.
you know,
I've seen
Napoleon
bits and pieces
Dynamite.
of that.
it's
I-
hysterical.
Again, that's a
Napoleon
Wasn't
Dynamite.
a fan of Napoleon Dynamite
Yeah, I
either.
can't stand Napoleon Dynamite.
You know
What was
what, guys?
that?
The first time I watched
What?
that movie, I absolutely hated it. And then I watched it again and was like, okay, I kind of get it. This is kind of funny. And then I watched it again and I like laughed the entire way through. And I'm like, what is wrong with me?
That was the exact same progression I had the first time I watched it. Yes, the first time I watched Napoleon Dynamite, I was like, I have just wasted 2 hours of my life. But then everyone was talking about how good it was, and I was like, okay, maybe I missed something. So I watched it again, and I was like,
You're like,
okay, I get
kinda
this.
it. Yeah.
Willow and I
And we
are
wonder
like,
why we feel like the world has gotten more stupid.
More stupider.
what? But the third
Vote
time,
Pedro.
the third
ignorant.
time I watched Napoleon Dynamite, I was laughing like crazy because I knew those people in high school.
Right.
I knew those people.
Oh, John.
I went to a
Somebody
really
told me.
small high
That's
school. So I don't
fantastic.
know. I missed out on a lot, I think.
Molly Daniels says that was me and Roger Rabbit. We can't be friends anymore, Molly Daniels. Roger Rabbit is a national treasure. And James Scott says, amen, Willow. He says he hates Will Ferrell. We don't hate anything.
Yeah, we don't hate. That's not nice.
We can dislike something. We cannot agree with it. Or we can say, this movie really, or this TV show did not connect with me. I am not the intended demographic.
Okay,
The
here's
characters.
what about Dodgeball, guys? Dodgeball.
I haven't seen
Hey,
it.
I love dodgeball, but
Love it.
somewhere along the lines
Love.
of
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
somewhere from like 2000 on, the world just became idiotic, and that's been our entertainment.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. It's like it's like the difference between filet mignon and cotton candy. You know, a good filet can be one of the best meals of your life, but it's life sustaining. It's protein. It gives you, nutrients. Cotton candy is just empty calories. It's fluff. It's pretty. It's fun. It tastes good, but it's not good for you. Too much of it will make you sick. And nobody comes home from the circus going, they had the best cotton candy I've ever had, but it has its place. And these goofball, idiotic comedies are like cotton candy. They have their place. And not everything can be filet mignon and roasted Brussels sprouts and asparagus.
And Pregu.
And Pregu.
Pregu.
I've got to watch Napoleon Dynamite again.
No.
I got to.
Willow and I will be watching something of depth and substance.
When it becomes, I'm sorry, Dee, you're gonna have to go home soon or
Yes.
get
I
off
know.
soon.
I've got to
but-
leave. I'm getting blown up over here.
Well, here, let's go ahead and let Dee jump off. Everyone follow Dee at DBartiPhoto. I'm so glad, Dee, that you actually watched Land of the Lost and that you liked the dinosaurs. And I think you need to sit Nathan down and see if he digs it as well. I know he had a dance this week, and anyway.
He ended up not going. He had baseball practice. I was so sad. I thought they were going to cancel it because of the rain, but whatever. Anyway, it was fine.
Anyway, Dee, thank you for being with us this morning. We will finish it out from here.
Okay.
Mwah. Love you. Bye. So Willow, to your point about cotton candy and dumb comedies, Grizzly Adams says, I have a weakness for dumb comedies. Kung Pao. Oh my gosh. Kung Pao is one of my favorite movies to rewatch. If you've not seen Kung Pao.
Okay, if it's those movies are done in a weirdly tasteful manner where it doesn't feel like you're wasting your brain cells watching it. You're being entertained while watching like a bunch of people fake. Well, it's not really fake kung fu moves. It's like watching watching a kung fu movie, but in like weird sports metaphors.
Well, Kung Pao was the time travel movie
Oh,
about
was
the
okay.
kung fu
Sorry.
cop. Yeah, it was a short movie, like 45 minutes, super cheesy, super dumb, brilliant.
But they made like other movies along with around the same time. Like there was Shaolin Soccer.
Yes.
I think that was done by the same person.
I
could be
don't
wrong,
know. I don't know, but you know, there is a place for dumb comedies. There's a place for cotton candy. But you can't sustain a diet of cotton candy.
But that was like around the time that Jackass came out. It just like reality TV took over, and that was it for the entertainment on television. Jackass, Survivor, Big Brother.
Well, do you know why? One, they are ratings kings, but two, they cost nothing to make.
But it lost the magic of the original. Like I remember when the first season of Real World came out on MTV, and like there was something really, really special about that. It'd never been done before. It was a totally new thing, and there was just a magic that was captured in that. But then they'd replicated it so much in so many different ways that it kind of came like we're just overly saturated with all this reality content,
and no one watches it anymore. They watch The Bachelor. Whatever. Hey, Dawn Doulis adds this comment that we are agreeing about remakes. I thought she was advocating for remaking perfect classic movies. She is agreeing with me about remaking bad movies. There are some cheesy movies that had good bones. Those are the ones that should be remade. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying. There we go.
Yes. And Facebook user says Will Ferrell killed Landofthelost and Bewitched. I did not see Bewitched for that reason.
I didn't see it either, but I grew up on the original show, and you just can't remake that. You cannot.
Carl Witzman says, I agree with Willow. Dumb comedies are fine, but some of the movies are just too dumb. And they encourage people to be dumb. Well, I'm going to say that those dumb movies that encourage people to be dumb are just part of the Darwinian experiment. They're helping to cull the gene pool.
And you know what really bugs me about comedians when they get into being movie stars or trying to become movie stars? It's like they purposely put them in these dumb movies to see if they will last being comedians, and that's not fair to their career.
And there's more to them too. I mean, I think Kevin Hart, you mentioned a minute ago, Kevin Hart did the movie with Bryan Cranston. I forgot the name of it. That film was phenomenal. It was spectacular and showed so many layers. Kevin Hart is so talented. So I think
I'm not a fan of Kevin Hart.
You're not.
No,
wow,
I do not find him funny at all.
Well, watch this movie with Bryan Cranston because it wasn't a comedy. It's based on a true story. It was based on a true story, and it was so poignant. I don't know. Did you see it, Willow? What is the name of this movie?
Someone will tell us in the
the
comments.
Upside. The Upside. Yeah, fantastic film.
I'll have to check that out. So Grizzly Adams says, no, Kung Pao Enter the Fist. The guy who made Thumb Wars made Kung Pao, and he basically inserted himself into an old Kung Fu movie and made it funny. And he adds, Johnny, you're thinking about Kung Fury, which was also, listen, Kung Fury. That is what I was thinking about. It is so bad. It's brilliant. It's awesome. You must see it. It's on Netflix. And my good friend, producer Jemmy, says there's nothing that can duplicate the magic of The Real World Season 1. And she added, she typed that again, Real World Season 1.
And all the Puck fans out there. Sorry. Let's go way back.
James Scott says Willow should have her own show. Wink, wink.
Well, tune in next Sunday.
Well, yes, she does. Next Sunday on Cryptid Crunch. They are. What are you going to be talking about? Do you know?
Haven't quite figured that out, but Carl did give me a couple of good ideas, so I might run with that. I have a magazine that I have to read, so I might steal some ideas out of that too. So
that's awesome. So anyway, any last thoughts about Land of the Lost?
I mean, I think it was great to have something like that in either one of our generations that or decades that was not just a cartoon, and that gave us a little something different. I love the live action stuff, and so I think it was a cool thing to have on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, and they revolutionized so much for television that would come afterwards with the stop motion, the use of serious themes, family drama, and that would be carried forward into a lot of other cartoon series that we're going to be talking about later on down the line, like Gem and the Holograms and some others that dealt with family drama and real world issues. So
can I sing the song when you do the show?
Yes, you may.
Okay, I'll prepare for that.
That show was definitely the best one out of the bunch that you gave us homework for. So
she was truly outrageous. Jim, truly outrageous. Truly outrageous. Okay.
Well, speaking of Gem, today, after we do the show, I'm going up the street to Town Square Records and Comics. And Samantha Newark, Gem herself, is here today doing autographs. So, and she's an old friend of mine, so I'm excited to go meet up with her today.
If anybody comes across any of those old tapes from the Barbies, the Barbies came with tapes of Gem songs. If anybody can find me any of those tapes, I will pay you handsomely for it.
Well, I got your hookup, and Samantha Newark has released a new album, a new vinyl record, because she sang all of those songs herself. And so she's signing her new album today as well. So I'm going to try.
Are you going to get her on the show?
She's been on the show.
Well, is she coming back for
we'll see. I'll ask her.
Okay.
She lives in Franklin.
Okay.
So she's local. Anyway, you know what? We got more comments. We can't get to every comment. I wish we could, because I got something to share. Because when we were kids, we were reaching into that cereal box, pulling out the prize. And so this week I've got some new loot. And Willow, Sarah, if you do too, we'll get to that. But I got to share this. This week, I got a very special gift. It's a book, but it's actually the complete 27 film collection of the Toho Godzilla movies. This is the Criterion collection. Wow. This is a giant tabloid size book, and there's a new movie poster for description for each of the movies, and all of them, the entire Godzilla collection on Blu-ray. I am over the moon that the publisher sent this to us, and this is the Showa era films from 1956 to 1975.
My family would love that. Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing, and I'm super excited about this. I'm a Godzilla fanatic. We talk about it on the show, but we don't really get to talk about Godzilla movies as much as I would love to. And this past Wednesday was the 20th anniversary of Godzilla Tokyo SOS. and Fathom Events did a special one-night screening nationwide. And my son and I went to see it. 2003 is when the movie came out. What a great experience. Listen, anyone who is talking about theaters dying, you need to go to a Fathom Event screening. That theater was packed. And it just showed that, you know, if you put out something that people want to see, if you know, people still love the classics and they still love seeing the classics in the theater. The box office is not dying. Just Hollywood has created their own problem with streaming services. That's a whole nother rant that I got into this week on our audio podcast. I talked about why Shazam 2 failed, and a lot of it's around the streaming service.
I haven't gotten a chance to see Shazam 2 yet. I've been wanting to, but I saw Ant-Man and the recent Ant-Man movie, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, I love Quantumania. Yeah, Quantumania was great. But anyway, either of you got anything fun to show off this week? Any show and tell out of the cereal box?
I got. I finally picked up a binder for my Garbage Pail Kid cards, so I've been dealing with that, and I got new ink for my printer.
Willow is adulting this week.
That's exciting.
Exciting.
Listen, printer ink is expensive these days.
Uh-huh.
So that is exciting. Sarah, you got anything to show off?
I'm just happy to be here, to be alive, to be out of the depths of writing this novel and to be done with the first draft of my new book. And it was excruciating, but it was really good. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this story. So,
well, I can't wait to hear more when it releases. And I'm going to tell you, so here's where we are on this list. The next show on our scheduled slate to review is the Super Friends. However, we may go ahead and bump Gem and the Holograms up to next week. Just for you, Sarah. Can you be with us next week?
yes, I can be with you next week.
All right. So we'll do Gem and the Holograms next week. We did an episode of it last year, but we'll revisit it because now we have Willow and we have you, Sarah, and it will be totally different, totally new because we have to
Totally outrageous.
totally
outrageous. Ooh, I can cosplay as Jim. I don't know if I have time to put that together in 1 week.
Hey, that will be 2 gems then.
Well,
I have my costume.
let's make this happen.
I'll work on it.
And I'm going to talk to her today.
So we'll see.
I'm going to talk to Samantha today, and I'm going to see if I can get her to be on the show with us.
Make sure that you tell her the proper time this time.
Yeah, that was
What did
Carol
you do?
Baskin's fault. Carol wants to come back on the show, so we'll make that happen. Anyway, Grizzly Adams says he can't wait to hear Sarah sing the theme song.
Oh no, I backed myself into a corner now. I'm not feeling well. I don't know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are way over time, but this has been a super fun morning, and I want to thank you guys for indulging my obsession with Land of the Lost. It remains, in my opinion, one of the top 5 best Saturday morning shows ever made. And I will die on that hill. But it is time for us to go. So everyone, make sure you follow, find, and support Willow Schuyler at Willow Schuyler everywhere on the interwebs, and author Sarah Jenkins on Instagram, Facebook. Are you on TikTok, Sarah?
No.
Yeah, neither am I.
I'm on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I'm on all the things.
At author Sarah Jenkins.
At author Sarah. I still have a Tumblr, John.
I do too.
Use it.
No,
still have a Tumblr.
listen, I do too, and I post every episode that we do on our Tumblr.
Really?
Yeah.
Is
And
anyone still on Tumblr, like actually active on there?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like every social media platform. People fall in love with what they like and they stick with it. And so there are a lot of people who are still there and they are very active.
Yeah, I'm only really active on Instagram. So if you want to find me, go over to IG, look me up. Let's do it.
I'm the Facebook king. So check me out at johnpica.com. And if you like this show, share it, click like, post a comment, even after we've gone off air. Continue to comment. That helps other people see us. And also subscribe on whatever platform you're watching or listening. Click the follow button, the subscribe button. And if you really, really, really want to support us, that banner is running along the bottom, buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod. You guys, I got to tell this story about support. So we've been talking about getting a Back of the Cereal Box RV and traveling around the country to conventions and, different small towns and, restaurant, doing the whole road trip thing. And so I've put out in the universe, hey, if anyone has an RV that they want to donate, feel free. Well, so happens that a major RV manufacturer has a social media influencer program. So this week I reached out and I applied. And I got a great message back. Said, John, you can go to your local dealer and get our manufacturer rebate. I'm like, yeah, that's not what I was looking for. Thanks, but you're a multi-million-dollar company. Give me a $2,500 travel trailer. Anyway, we'll see. That's still out in the universe. But anyway, we got to go. Everybody, thank you for watching, listening, for tuning in, being in the audience, for commenting. And Willow, Sarah, as always, thank you guys for being beautiful and being with us. If you love our show, tell 200-300 of your closest friends and family to come share the fun. Until the next time, we'll love you, mean it, and we'll catch you on the back of the cereal box. Bye-bye. So long.
Have a
Farewell.
good day.
Avidas and bonjour.
Adios.